How to keep highlights bright. With coloured pencils, characteristic of being semi-transparent, it's really important at the beginning stages of your drawing to mark out your light areas and your shadow areas. So this drawing is a demonstration piece that I work on from time to time. It's from the reference of this lovely black horse. And it's a good example of showing some soft highlights. So I've worked out my colour palette, basic colour palette, all my colours that are going to work together. So I've got blue violet, caput mortuum violet, India red, terracotta, light yellow ochre, with a bit of coal grey one, and black, which I'll use a little bit on the top. But these two colours mixed together will be making the majority of my blacks, because he's quite cool up the top. I had a bit warm sun and a blue sky, so he's got this lovely blue influence throughout his body, and especially on this upper plane. So in an area like this where he's got quite a shine on his rump, as you can see here, and this leg is receiving quite a lot of light, I would approach it in this manner. So I've got quite a dark shadow here, which I've more or less marked in, so it gives me a good reference point of how dark I'm going to get, although I will go a little bit darker. But as I approach this very soft shine, because it's a rounded form, this edge is going to be very, very soft. So I would approach it with virtually just the weight of the pencil touching the paper at this stage, and leaving it as such. It will have a light sort of shine, a very light, not shine, but a very light application over. And then rather than come right to the edge at this stage, when I pop the next layer on and go a little bit heavier with the pressure, I'd actually stay away from that edge, just to keep it nice and soft at this stage. And then towards the end, I will adjust that edge. But it is, your main, I suppose, concern at this early stage is to probably leave the area slightly larger than you need to, so that you can adjust it at the end and make sure your form's right. What's very important is that first layer's got to be very light, so it's just enough to show the form, and it'll be the same down here. So I'll approach this shine very, very lightly, just a light covering, and I can adjust the pressure on the next layer. And that way, if there's an error, it's easier to erase. But because this leg is a rounded form, all these edges are going to be really, really soft. So you must preserve the white of your paper in the early stages and work it up slowly and carefully to keep your highlights bright. And right at the end, if you need to put a soft application over the top, then it'll feed into this edge really nicely. So if I was going to do it very, very lightly, and this would be a little bit darker by this stage, it's going to work out beautifully and soft. But it's the best way to get that lovely lightness. Use the white of the paper to create those highlights, have them marked in, and keep them lovely and bright.